Hello everyone, this is Nick Walker from Aither Technology. In this video, I'm going to show you how to put provisioned concurrency in place for a Lambda function. Provisioned concurrency allows you to have any number of Lambda instances in a warm standby state, which means that the underlying infrastructure is already running and ready to execute your function. So when you do not have provisioned concurrency, your Lambda function will start from a cold state, which means you'll have a slight delay while the underlying infrastructure starts and then execute your function. Here, I already have a function called redirect to link. This function just responds to an invocation by returning a 302 code to do a redirect and then a link to which to send the user to. I have this attached to an API gateway function. To enable provision concurrency for this function, we first need to publish a version of the function. To do this, we'll click on Actions, Publish New Version. Give your version a description, we'll call it v1, and publish. So now you can see at the top here, I have my redirect to link function, and then I have a version 1 of this function. It's important to note that you cannot allocate provision concurrency to the latest version of a function. You have to publish a version of the function. So now that I have this specific version of the function, you can see here it has its own ARN, and you can use this ARN with any trigger within Lambda. So we will attach this. The way I use it is to attach to API gateway. Any other trigger can be used to also execute this specific version of your function. So you can see here I'm now looking at the provisioned concurrency. So to turn on provisioned concurrency for this function, all I need to do is edit this. Back up here, I'll type in the number of warm standby instances I want to have running. So we'll say 5. And you'll see it will tell me exactly how much per month this is going to cost me in addition to the normal execution requests. And I will click Save. And now that I've clicked Save, you can see that it is in process of provisioning these 5 instances that I would like to have running. When the status shows ready, your instances can now handle traffic. So I have 5 provisioned instances and they are ready to go. One last note on this. So right now you're looking at version 1 of your function. To get back to the latest version, you would click on redirect to link, and now you can see your code. You can change your code and go back and test it and create new versions. To get back to the version where you have the provision concurrency set up, click on the versions tab, and then here is that version that we created. Now, I use functions like this regularly with API Gateway, usually to do something like exactly what this function does, to redirect a link. And so on sites where performance time and response time is critical, you need to have provisioned concurrency in place to make sure that your site performance is fast. Now, I want to show you a CloudWatch graph from some client work I did that shows the dramatic increase in performance that you can get by having this provision concurrency in place. So I have external monitoring tools that measure the link click response time that was connected to the Lambda function. And you can see on the left here, this was before I had enabled provision concurrency on the link clicks. And you can see it was up to 5 seconds. And then after provision concurrency was turned on, it dropped substantially down to, this is the maximum response time, so up to a second. And what you can see here, another interesting thing, is these spikes that go above 1 second are likely where I had so much traffic that the provision concurrency was being used and it was having to spin up new cold instances. And so that's probably why you see these spikes here.